the last year I've really battled with the thought that like I'm a loser or I'm not good enough, right? Like things like I don't make enough money, I don't have enough muscle, I just don't have a clear purpose, right? And I use these negative thoughts as kind of a fuel. Um, I work longer days, slept less, wrestled with the constant thought that, or just the fact that I felt like I was running out of time, you know? And I'd look around and I'd see these people that at the time, I considered them my friends, right? And you could say their quote, like lack of ambition and like genuine contentness with their life. I was envious of it, right? Like, how could you just do so little, accomplish so little, and be so happy? Um, and like, I genuinely felt like I was trying to sprint through a marathon, but like every time I took a step, the finish line just got a step further away. And I wanted to talk about why I felt this way because I know there's many people out there who feel the same way. Um, and it's a hard mindset to break. And I've come down to the answer can be summed up into three kind of reasons or categories. And it's external pressures, your environment, and your purpose or personal fulfillment. Um, and to start, I think the most obvious external pressure in most people's life is social media. And, as much as people talk about bullshit like social media detox, or I mean, it's not bullshit, but the way that it's framed certainly is. Social media usage is a vice that most people struggle with. At the time of recording this, I'm proud to say that I've officially completed 2 months with no social media apps on my phone, and you know, social media really does do so much more harm than like might first meet the eye. And I think most people would agree that they'd be better off if they use social media less. But why is that really, right? And social media is a complete escape, and I'm not saying like not only from others and like from the world, but it's an escape from yourself, from like your own conscious being. Like you live inside this tailored and personalized algorithm that feeds you exactly what you want, what you enjoy, and like what's most comfortable and entertaining. And this constant stimulation is a part of the reason why you never feel like you're enough. You don't genuinely know what you want because you spend most of your time listening to and consuming the opinions of others. And like soon enough, you just start losing like your original sense of self. Like you don't want things, like you don't want to become rich because you truly think it'll make you happy, but just because of what the cool 17-year-old day trader who makes $10 zillion a day told you, right? Like some bullshit like that. And not everyone comes to these like extremes, but you definitely start to glamorize or just want things that you don't truly align with as a person. Like that's not really what you want, but it's the conclusion that you've come to because of what you've been consuming. Um, and obviously, comparison digitally and in reality is always the thief of joy. But just such an accessible form, right? It does add up over a long period of time, and I kind of want to share my personal experience with social media and how quitting it has changed me. So, like, I'm 20 and pretty much grew up online for most of my life, playing on the Xbox 360, 3DS, early social media. Um, you kind of get the gist. But it wasn't until recently, I'd say, like the last year of my life, that social media really became destructive in a serious way, that is, least. And like there's enough like there's always like the normal just doom scrolling until 5 a.m. or days of 10-hour screen time, but like as an adult those days have been pretty far behind me, since I moved out, at least. But around the time that I quit social media, like I said, like 2 months ago, I had a impromptu falling out with my friend group and at the time girl I was hanging out with. So not the dramatic kind of falling out over some big fight, but more just like a misjudgment on my end, and met with radio silence. So, I'll leave that to another story, um, for another day. But I kind of entered the start of my isolation, and at first a week passed, then a month, and now it's been 2 months. and nothing, just not a text, not a call, just silence. And during this time, I really realized how good social media is at making you feel included in part of something bigger, right? Because the truth was that I've always been alone. I just didn't know it because I was always able to open an app and peer into someone else's life. And that really takes up more mental energy than you can truly imagine. Like, you become concerned about how many likes your posts get, or when I viewed this person's story too quick, it probably looked weird, or X person is on this vacation. How are they doing, right? And you don't even talk to these people like on a day-to-day basis, but you're so concerned with their life, and they're so like intertwined with your mental thoughts, right? And you start doing things for not for your own genuine fulfillment, but you start performing and like subconsciously to what's trending or what looks cool. And the truth is, like, nobody cares more about how you look than you, right? And so it's just such a weird, and this ties straight into your environment, right? So the external pressures that you face in your day-to-day life, like who you surround yourself with, what they do, where you work, where you go, what hobbies you do, your addictions or your vices, right? And they're all a product of your environment in some way. Like, even the smallest things, like the first thing you do in the morning, right? It's a product of habit bound by your environment. And um, I just want to ask you, like, have you ever realized that it feels lighter to try things that are new when you're in a different environment? And for example, if you can't think of something right off the bat, many people find it way easier to relax when traveling on vacation, right? And so when you wake up every day in the same space, like at your home, with the same things and the same agenda, it becomes super easy to like become and form a routine and habits. So, like, good or bad. And each habit is associated with a place it's performed, right? So if your habit every day is to wake up, grab your phone, and check every notification, then removing your phone from your environment of your bedroom would break that action from being like the first thing that's performed in the day, right? You'd be forced to get up if you wanted to go get your phone. So even if you might go to it right away anyways after, but your day has started slightly different, and that's just like a small thing. But and a lot of people look at people who are successful and think like, I could never be like that. I could never do something like that. Um, but the truth is, like, these people aren't any more disciplined than you are, right? They just surround themselves with the environments that set them up for the best possible possibility for success. And it really starts with the small things daily. So I'm not going to sit here and just like rant about optimizing your routine and surrounding yourself with the most optimal things, because it's not really what the topic of the video is. But what I'm trying to get at is, by removing these negative habits, people, job, etc., from your life, the external pressures that you allow yourself to be placed under directly change. And that gives you the mental space to kind of reevaluate what it is that you truly are looking for in life. And once you kind of gain this gap, you find this time and this space to breathe, you'll come to question, what is it that makes you fulfilled, and what is your purpose? Not what others want, not what social media tells you, or the news, or your toxic coworker, but what makes you excited to wake up in the morning. And for many people, including myself, it might not be something that's immediately evident, but what I recommend to each and every one of you is to find your roots. And so these are the things that you so deeply enjoyed, but for some reason you gave up, they fell out of your life, or you quit because of stupid reasons like money, because of the opinions of others, social standards. And typically I find that this is where most people find that they have a creative side, or they rediscover it. Or a lot of people think that they're not creative. It's because they fucking sit there all day and just consume. Right? If you just consume all day, you're never gonna find the time to make anything. And it's comfortable to consume, right? So instead of spending all your time consuming the products, opinions, and thoughts of others, you become a creator in some way. And there's so many different forms. People think creative is only for the arts, but outside of, you can be creative in music, software, film, gaming, sports, anything can be turned into a creative passion or an outlet, right? And so begin by just rediscovering and finding this outlet and let your passion flow. And when you find it, hold on to it closely, because this is where you start to feel like you're enough. And if this video helped anyone, I'd really appreciate it if you drop a comment and, some feedback. But other than that, wish you guys all a great rest of your day, and it's been Dread.